Hey, this is the hard truth of Tony Schaefer, powered by Sig Sauer. Never settle. I had a choice of what I carried in combat. I always carried the best. You should carry the best. The best is Sig Sauer. Never settle. We're on the America Out Loud Talk Radio Network and on their podcast network. Check them out and check us out. We are Project Sentinel. ProjectSentinel.com is our overall team, kind of where we put the horses when they're not running in the field. And we're also on X at PRJ_Sentinel. Or the common, spelled the common way. I can't talk today. And of course, we are also sponsored by Swiss America. Call to get a copy of their Secret War on Cash. Man, oh man, is there a Secret War on Cash right now? 800-289-2646. And tell them Tony Schaefer sent you. Our past shows are available on thehardtruthwithtony.com. And of course, a quick shout out to our friend, Cherie Curry. Cherie's last concert's coming up. Man, oh man, if you don't, it's like right around the corner. And she's going to be doing it at Whiskey A Go-Go on the 1st of November. And John Ford Coley, a great yacht rock guy who's a great patriot, and a bunch of other folks are going to be there. I'm going to be there. We're going to be hanging out with Cherie for the last concert. She and her sister, not too proud to talk about the fact they're turning 65. Good for them. Still rocking at 65. Cherie and Marie are going to be there. It'll be great. And of course, she does our theme and bumper music. So rock and roll oblivion. But speaking of people who are not in oblivion, we're joined today by Angie. Angie Wong. Angie, welcome to the Hard Truth.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in definitely in the Matrix. But yeah, no, I don't. I totally been red pill. You know this, Tony.
I know.
It's like I can't get out. That's it. We're down the rabbit hole. Yeah. Well, thank you again for having me on. This is great to be on with the great Tony, and I look forward to this show. We've got a lot of great guests coming on today.
So, well, we do. And so, by the way, a shout out to your show. Is it Prime Cut or is it Peanut Brittle? I can't remember what it is.
You renamed it Peanut Brittle, and then you
because
got
we're
me
talking
really
about
hungry.
brittle people. Yeah.
No, we're always talking about food. No, we're called the Prime Roast, and we have a lot of Prime Roaster fans. We've been roasting a lot of politicians in the previous episodes. Hey, we're just getting our feet wet. You know, we're getting a little comfortable, and we're gaining an audience thanks to you, Tony, who came on our show.
It's a team effort.
Well,
cross-fertilization.
You brought the star power in last time, so we have probably our best show ever with Tony on just last week, and the numbers are going up and up. So thank you.
I think you ought to have Tim Walsh on and have him strip down a gun. That would be very popular. You know, just have him kind of play with his shotgun, if you know what I mean.
Well, you know, he's like this close to starting a OnlyFans page, right? So I think that's gonna be his next move, up there with George Santos.
Well, you know, he and George Santos would be, I think, a fun pair, so to speak. Just saying.
I do know what you're saying.
I think they could go to Macy's and pick out matching, earrings and lipstick colors.
Have you not noticed George Santos's wardrobe? He only wears Hermes, and he only wears name brands. He's such a Long Island, housewife. It's pretty incredible. I mean, I'm from that district, so I can say that.
That's good. But anyway, check them out. What's the name of the show again?
Prime Roast. Think of
Prime
Roast.
Think
of like roast beef, you guys. Just think of
roast.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go for a nice prime roast dinner, so it sticks in your head what we're called. But we love roasting people on our show. Comic relief that delivers hard politics, right? Yeah. So it works.
It's good.
Very digestible.
And people, it's fun, and people I think will enjoy the manner of presentation as well as the content, and that's a good thing. So without further ado, let's talk about our content. We're going to talk about the elections, right? We're right around the corner. Tuesday is we're like less than 2 weeks out, right? So
do you believe it? It's been such a long election season. I've never been more exhausted in my lifetime. It's been just a really long election season. But I'll tell you what's happening here where I am in Florida. It's like we're rage voting. You're talking about 4 years of people who were just running to the polls at 5 a.m. on Monday when early voting began here in Florida. They could not wait to vote. And this is coming from both sides, right? Yeah. And that's what I saw Monday and Tuesday of early voting here in Florida. And now we are just hours away here in Miami from historically flipping it red.
Wow.
And I'm talking hours, maybe even by the end of today or tomorrow, you're going to see Miami for the very first time ever go super red. And now, historically, any president or candidate who wins Miami-Dade County goes on to win the presidency. So
Interesting.
this is going to be this is where all the tea leaves are. So hopefully we'll have some good news for you tonight when the polls close, or maybe tomorrow. But I'll certainly be tweeting all over the place about this.
Well, I hope sometime in the not too distant future we'll be down there to celebrate. We're going to do some things in
Yes.
February, but we'll go out to Monty Trainers or Trainers, whatever they call
Why
it
do you
now.
keep calling it Monty Trainers?
Because that's what it was called when I was there back in the 80s.
I'm going to take a picture I'm going to drive down there after the show, and I'm going to take a picture. It's called the Monties right now. They've shortened it. It's right on the docks. You get to see all the beautiful yachts and the seagulls.
Oh,
yeah, I'm taking you for a drink there, Tony.
Well, I look forward to it, a victory drink. But let's talk about what we have to do to get to victory. And we're there almost, but we don't want to jinx it. But what do you attribute most directly to this red? Can I say red wave? I guess I can say red wave.
It certainly is a red wave here in Florida. I mean, other states as well. North Carolina is going in that direction, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not a full tsunami yet, but it's certainly a big.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. I'm running for office here.
That's it.
So,
That's right.
I went in, and I went in and voted early. The first day available, which was on the 17th,
Good.
and we had a record turnout here in Chowan County, little old Chowan County. I think we had something like 1,000 people come out the first day, and we've only got 14,000 people, so it was pretty significant that we had that number.
You still got to get out the 14,000. I want to see big numbers coming for you, Tony. Look,
we have people coming, yeah.
Well, the fact that you're not nervous about your race and you're running and you've got another couple of days, it's like that means he's got it in the bag. So hopefully we're going to be celebrating.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I've got to do it at the time we're taping this. I got to do a talk tonight. I'm doing a surrogate thing for hold on a second. Oh, no big deal. Anyway, so I got to do a talk. Well, I get stuff all the time. I got to do a talk for Lori Buckout.
That's right.
I'm doing a surrogate talk for her at the local EMS dinner. And Lori is doing well, I believe. You never can tell till the day of reckoning on the 5th, but she's out and about doing great things, talking to folks, really stirring things up. And I think the combination of her being a woman, we know what women are, unlike the other side. We do know that. And she's a combat veteran with actual experience, has a great record, unlike Don Davis was caught recently in a lie, by the way. Angie, I don't know if you knew that Don Davis is the Democrat incumbent, and he'd been making claims. He'd been making claims that he retired. He didn't retire. He spent 8 years in the Air Force. So,
there's something weird going on there. You know what I really appreciate about Lori Buckhow? In politics, especially for women, you have to bring on so much masculine energy just to be in politics. And she just makes it both feminine and masculine at the same time. Like she can, I'm not saying she goes girly girl, but she can, she could play both fields. Right. And she can, she can go street and she can go Park Avenue. I mean, she's so versatile. I love her. She's my inspiration. I hope to be Lori Buckhow when I grow up. I know I'm not, a combat vet, but I really do like her just as a person. And she's just so personable. So I can't wait to see her in the 119th Congress next year. I really can't.
Well, let's get back to Miami because I love Miami and I know you do too. So let's
talk
about some. Yeah, I know. So, as the audience may remember, I spent some time working undercover back in the late 80s as a case officer. We were doing clandestine ops. I don't think it's too fine a point. We were spying on Nicaragua because Nicaragua was going through problems, and Cuba, and we were, running operations out of Miami in the region. I don't want to get into all the specifics, but I had a great time working on the streets there. And by the way, South Beach, I love South Beach. It's an amazing place with all the Art Deco. I'm a big Art Deco guy. I love Art Deco. And they've done such an amazing job of restoring that as a place just to go and hang out.
Yeah.
And even in the 80s, when it was just kind of beginning to come back, it was still a great place to hang out, just saying. So
we got to get you back over here and do a show. You got to show me all your old haunts. You got to show me where you were doing your ops. And I bet it was at that hotel that's on Bayshore Drive. That's where a lot of the drug cartels were running out of too.
Well, we were trying to stay out of the way of the drug cartels.
I see.
No, so we look like, so this is the thing. So I remember Commander Diego Maya. he may still be around. He was a Metro Dade guy, and so we coordinate with local law enforcement and the FBI. And
Mm.
so it was so funny. I'm in for my meeting, and I'm a very, this is 1980, 88, 89, 89. This is 89. And so, I'm much younger then than I am now, just saying. And I've had some street time already, but this guy freaked me out. So I'm sitting there with Commander Maya. He says, Tony, there's one thing you must understand about Miami. Trust no one, not even me. And he was dead serious
Oh,
because
wow.
that was in the really bad days of the drug, Miami Vice and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
our
yeah.
job, because we used tradecraft because we're doing spy stuff, our job was to stay out of the way of both sides. Just saying, it's like we're not, we look like drug dealers, but we're not. We look like law enforcement, but we're not. We're kind of, not one or the other. So we had to be, and we had to go armed, and we had to be prepared to kind of, stop, either way.
Can
And
you
so it was
tell who was who, like by their haircuts or how
to
they were
quote
dressed?
Sonny Crockett, you could not tell the players without a program. No, you couldn't.
Really?
Oh my God, it was like wild. I'm telling you, it was
There must
talk
be a
about Tucker Carlson.
telltale. There's got to be some sign, like what beer
No,
you drink signals who you are or
no,
something, right? Nothing?
no, no.
Wow, you were that good.
Well, we had to be kind of just part of the landscape. There was an event where we finally figured out that the Cubans were coming after us. That's a whole another story where we were held. Kindle, right? You know where Kindle's at,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
we were doing a thorough debrief and polygraph of an asset that we thought was doubled. In spy parlance, someone can be a dangle, like they basically kind of get recruited and they're feeding you false information. It's called a double agent operation. We suspected this guy was doubled.
What does it mean to be a triple agent? I
And
heard
that,
that term
well,
recently.
that means once you figure out he's a double, then you double him back. So it gets complicated. No, we could have a whole separate conversation of spycraft.
I would love that
Oh my
over drinks
God.
at the Monty.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's another
I'm
story about
buying.
yeah. But anyway, but I do want to get back. But regarding just the Miami is a great place, and the
No,
demographics
Miami's
there.
great, and it's going to be historical. And to answer your question, when we do the autopsy of election 2024, it
Yeah,
is going to come down to the Latino votes. That is who's going to be taking a lot of credit for the Trump win that we're about to see. And look, even Nate Silvers is now predicting and projecting a Trump win, and that's just according to him, according to his gut. It's not even
yeah.
according to data. And we've been seeing this for a while, but now the numbers and the data is supporting this idea. But again, we have a little bit under 2 weeks left until November 5th. So
Yeah.
anything can still happen. I'm not jumping for joy just yet,
Right.
but certainly, everything's looking to the Republicans' favor. I just pulled up some data from Cook's political report. And, as much as, Trump loves to tout, we're gaining on the black vote, that's not entirely true. Yes, they bumped up a little bit by a couple of points with black voters, but the reality is 76% is still going to Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah.
So I'll let the Trump team have a little bit because they yanked up 2 or 3 points there. But
I want to talk about that in a bit. But yeah.
But the real story is the Latino vote. I mean, right now, according to Cook's political report, Harris is at 49% and Trump is at 47.3% of the Latino vote. Now, I don't have historical data for what he got in 2020 just yet, but it was nowhere in the 40s. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was just at a Trump car rally on Saturday for the Cuban Americans for Trump. So they were out in full force, rolling around Brickell, Miami, with their flags, and they even took out
Fun
a big
event. Oh, it sounds
$18,000. Yeah, it was a festive
Wow.
thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the big story. Miami flipping red, and that's going to call it for Trump. I think that's going to be what we're going to be talking about on election night.
Well, how do we get here though? Because this is the thing that always fascinates me. At the time we're taping this, Kamala Harris has had multiple weeks of unforced errors. And one of the things which I'm going to ask you about regarding one of those unforced errors, I think goes to the core of the Latino mentality, which is the belief in family and God. She's made some horrific choices. Her campaign has, and you have to pin it on her because she is the candidate no matter what. From the Gretchen Whitmer fake, Dorito, what would you call? I
What
don't even know
was
what to call.
that?
Yeah, it was like mocking the sacraments of the Catholic Church, and we didn't really mean to do that. It was about the Chip Act. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Come on. It was about mocking religion, and then her saying, in an actual campaign event, when people said, Jesus is Lord, you're in the wrong rally. So has that? I'll just say it. Satanic. The satanic attitude of Kamala Harris, has that been a factor regarding the Latino vote moving more into the Trump camp?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is the funny thing. We've all been waiting for the October surprise. What we don't realize is that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is the October surprise. They're
Yeah.
doing it to themselves, and
Oh,
they
man.
can't help it because it's very clear now that their campaign is sanctioning all of these moves. These are pulled moves. These videos, the speeches, everything that comes out of her mouth, it's all being pre-written. This is a script that they're going through, and their communications team can't pivot. Their strategists can't pivot from that because you can see now it is such a deep belief within them that they can't understand what real Americans are really thinking like and how they behave and how they vote. So, we saw a crazy video from Kamala Harris last week about what she thinks the alpha man looks like and behaves like. And they casted that. I know you've seen the video.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, they cannot pivot from their own understanding. So therefore, her campaign is just disastrous when it comes to messaging, especially to Latino families.
Right. Well, that's why. So obviously there's a large Cubano population. By the way, I love Cafe Cubano. That's like legal cocaine. Man, oh man.
I just had one. Well, you gotta before shows, you gotta do like a little cortelito, right?
Yeah.
But
So
but
no,
that's
we
the
used to have
culture
those.
here.
Well, back in the old days when I was drinking, we would be out drinking at Monty's or whatever you want to call it till 3 a.m. and have to get up and be at the airport to clandestinely surveil an acid coming through. And we'd be at the airport drinking 4 or 5 of those Cafe Cubanos there just to get sobered up.
Wait. I was going to say we might have 2 different definitions of Cafe Cubano, but yeah, no, for sure.
No, they come in the little thing about that big.
Yes,
and they're
that's
just,
right.
It's just full of
espresso, milk, and sugar, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I live on all day,
yes.
guys. I don't even eat anymore. I just do like a couple of shots of that. No, that's my body fuel these days, especially the last couple of days before the end of the election. No, I mean, look, I ran in this district. I just recently won my district here in Miami, and I got to tell you, 93% Latino, right? So I had to learn the language, and I had to certainly speak to the families here. They are not for whatever it is that the Harris team is selling, and they don't mind telling you this, right? Because it is just too outrageous. It's too fast. It's forgetting just being traditionally conservative. They don't see a way forward. They see old Cuba, and that is what they bring. They bring in the communist ideals. And you just even bring up that word and it's like they run the other way, right? So that worked. And that's why Kamala Harris now is calling Trump Hitler, because she's trying to gain the Jewish vote, right? And all of this religion slinging. I don't even know. There's got to be a better word than that, but I don't know what I can say on the show. But all this religious slinging.
Say whatever you want.
But it's I think you call it psychops, right? When you call someone Hitler. Or when you call someone communist, that is something that is beyond just a label. That is something that really deeply can hurt a candidate or hurt somebody that you're calling this to. It's almost inciting violence. Am I even close to saying that?
Well, I think she's going back to that playbook. And then Joe Biden says he wants to lock him up. We need to lock him up. Oh, I just mean, politically. Come on. And so the other thing about, so psychological operations is a subset of something called information operations. And information operations, which was something that was my specialty in the 90s into the 2000s, has to do with how you manipulate thinking. Now, one of the things that you have to do as part of a psyop is you have to make it believable. So at this point, I think they've gone to that playbook so many times, Angie. Nobody believes it. It's like, no, Trump. And by the way, Babylon B, which is always brilliant, did a tweet yesterday saying, well, Kamala Harris says Trump's going to be, a fascist from day one, but he forgot to do that last time he was president. Just saying,
Yeah.
So.
Well, but Tony, if you know the playbook, share it with us. I mean, are you seeing the early signs of that playbook happening? What stage are we in with
No,
all this, with
so well, that's
psychops?
the thing. They aren't following the playbook. They're like a bunch of children who picked up the playbook at recess and are trying to figure out, okay, let's try page 5. No, it didn't work. Let's go to page 15. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like one of the things we do. I'm just saying it because we do, and I don't want to get into details of specifics, but you establish a campaign plan, which basically looks at what are you trying to achieve? What's the end state you want? And then you start moving back from the end state and figure out how to get there. You
Right.
have a certain amount of time and you fill in that space. That's a campaign. These people can't even define what their campaign is about. I mean, they aren't even doing politics. They're not even doing the basic idea of establishing a theme, gaining access to the voters, and then sealing the deal. Last night, all the pundits were basically admitting that at the time we're taping this, they had what's her name, Vanderbilt's son. Oh my goodness,
Oh yeah, Anderson Cooper.
Giving her like T-ball questions,
I know.
and it was horrible. And all the pundits afterwards said she didn't seal the deal. Even their own undecided voters were all saying, yeah, she didn't really seal the deal.
Yeah.
So that's my point here, is that they aren't actually doing. I don't know who's advising them. I really don't. But I'm telling you that the people like Stan McChrystal, they know how to do this, and he's not. I don't know if he's not advising him or if he's just half-assing it. But Stan has been in meetings that I've been in where we've talked about campaigns, about how to essentially establish a narrative and be convincing in it. So these people haven't done that. As a matter of fact, can you tell me right now the 3 core values of the Kamala Harris campaign? No, you can't. They've never said them.
I mean, I could throw some rhetoric in there, but it's all like leftover stuff from Joe Biden.
Yeah.
No, I mean, clearly, it's pretty incredible that Kamala Harris is like even more hated than Hillary Clinton at this point.
Yes.
Like I didn't think that was possible.
I didn't either. But and there's a great video going around. Some of the folks may have seen it on X, where they have Kamala and Hillary side by side doing this. Oh my God.
No.
It's from about the same period in their respective campaigns. And that was the point. It's like,
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really excited, and if we're trending this way, we've got a big win come November 5th. I just don't see what else they can do at this point to really stop things. I know you do. I'm sure. Look, my certain phone networks went down yesterday nationwide, so you're going to start seeing that kind of stuff, and that's all like military stuff that I don't really know about, but I love listening to you and Blaine Holt talk about all the time, and you guys scare me every time I get on the phone with you guys. Like I shake because of all the things that can still happen. And I don't want to scare people on the show, but get some bottled water and get some power sources that's not plugged in. But things are going to happen. Things are going to get really weird, you guys, for the next 12 days or so. It is going to get very strange. So I hope everyone stays safe and vigilant and get out the vote now, because who knows what happens on election day. Things break, water mains break, printers break, all sorts of weird stuff happens on election day.
Well, I want to talk about that at part 2 of the show, but let's frame that for the audience. So at this point, at the time we're talking, things are trending very favorably. But Donald Trump is not actually running against Kamala Harris. He's running against a machine. He's running against the machine that is the Democrat Party, the permanent state, and media, other than X. I mean, Zuckerberg and all the other big media, technology platforms are against him. So that's what worries me, is that even if everything goes his way, I think the point of maximum danger is between the 5th of November and the 20th of January. That's
Wow,
what I'm most worried about.
you are probably a third person to say that to me today. I'm worried about November 28th, you guys. That's when Trump
Yep.
gets sentenced in a Manhattan court. So lots to talk about there.
Let's talk about. Okay, we got to wrap it up for right now. We're going to be back after this short break. This is the Hard Truth, and we'll be back. Toot sweet. Hey, this is the Hard Truth with Tony Schaefer, Part 2. Still powered by Sig Sauer. Never settle. I had a choice of what I carried in combat. I always carry the best. You should carry the best as well. The best is Sig Sauer. Never settle. And anyway, back to Swiss America, another one of our sponsors. Check them out. They have a great offer for a walking Liberty $50. 800-289-2646. Always good to have hard currency like gold and silver if things happen. You want to be able to, continue to eat no matter what happens. And I think having some level of metal, precious metal, is a good thing to do. And also, we are on the America Out Loud Talk Radio Network and their podcast network. That's what you're listening to us on if you're listening on the network right now. And we're Project Sentinel at projectsentinel.com or on X at PRJ_Sentinel. And past shows at Tony Schaefer, the Hard Truth at Tony.com. So we're joined by the irrepressible Chris Cordani and the completely effervescent and always bubbly Elizabeth Breckenkamp.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Good adjective.
So it's good to be bubbly because you live by a lake anyway, right, Elizabeth?
Yes, by the lake, South Anna River, so many things. Virginia is a great place. It's a lot of fun. We're out in the woods. So when we shoot at the animals, our neighbors don't complain.
Yeah, that's good. So
we call them animals.
Clearly, your husband is no Tim Walz. Just saying.
No, he knows how to disassemble and assemble a rifle, a shotgun, a Glock. All kinds of things.
He plays guitar. Does that make him Anthony Blinken?
Oh, no.
No, so that's good too.
He's like Buckaroo Banzai, Chris. Remember Buckaroo Banzai?
That works. Or Tennessee.
I don't remember him. I'll have to look him up.
You need to see that movie, Buckaroo Banzai. It's a cult classic.
How about Jack?
Right,
Burton?
Chris?
Oh yes.
That sounds like a kids movie.
Huh?
Kids.
You'd like it. Buckaroo Banzai. It's got a lot of well-known actors in it. That was
okay.
If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like psychedelic. Drop some acid when you watch it. It makes it better.
I'm trying to keep the few brain cells I have left.
And you might want to couple it up with that Bill Maher classic, Cannibal Women from the Avocado Jungle of Death.
Ooh.
This is a movie that has both Shannon Tweed and Adrienne Barbeau.
There you go.
I think I actually
can't go wrong.
See that.
You can't go wrong with that. A bottle of Chablis and naked women. Man, that's like that's a Saturday Night Live. Man, that's great.
We always go there on this show.
I know. It's great.
Yeah, we end up with the Wiccans, the naked women dancing in a circle.
No. Skyclad. Use the right terms, Elizabeth. Skyclad.
What is
Skyclad ceremony?
So, I'm looking that up.
No, seriously. I mean, I think to me, this could only be for conservative women. You don't want Skyclad, progressive women, right, Chris?
Oh no, we don't need that.
Bella Asbug naked. Oh God.
I can't
Hillary
think of any
Clinton
progressive woman who would be attractive.
On the other hand, that makes a fine contraceptive.
That's a good point.
Or repellent, if you will.
A repellent. Yeah.
Well, they're always complaining about not having contraception. I guess you have naked progressive women running around. That would prevent a lot of
probably not a nice thing to say. But if you're butt ugly enough, nobody's gonna want to touch you anyway. Sorry.
Is that a technical term? Butt ugly? I guess that
I think so.
Well, what happens is it's something called self-uglification, where these women who were actually kind of attractive, they shave their hair off to look like they're some kind of guy, and then put these thick fake glasses on to make themselves look huge, and then maybe eat a few extra sandwiches and put a tattoo on, maybe a nose ring to make themselves, once beautiful, look really ugly, so they can fit in with the rest of the as Rush Limbaugh used to put it, feminazis.
Well put, Chris. For sure. Yeah, you're right. I never thought of it that way, but that's a really good description of liberal women.
Uglification. I like that.
Yeah. What do Republican women do? What do conservative women do? I mean, they're pretty hot. I gotta say. I mean, I'm
Well, they are
looking
no, I mean,
around.
I think they shower.
look at the bench. Yeah,
They shower.
Yes.
that's a big plus.
They brush
Yeah,
their teeth.
I think. Well, yeah, I think basic hygiene is an important factor of success for Republican women. I think that's a true statement, right?
We care about the way we look,
Yeah, right.
It's true, though. I mean, but again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. I mean, I don't have a clear answer to it, but it does seem like Republican women are hotter. Just saying.
Yeah, it's true.
makes sense.
But that's a great
Self-serving
point.
there.
No, the eye of the beholder thing is very apparent because, boy, Bill Clinton must really love Hillary.
That's a lot of love.
boy.
That's a
That's
whole lot of love.
Yeah, that's another 3 shows.
That's a whole lot of love.
Oh,
Yes,
anyway.
I don't know why you don't like Hillary. She's the sweetest thing since, I don't know, since
Cigars.
since Bazooka bubble gum. I can chew her and blow her too. That's why Bazooka bubble gum. So
Oh,
there
boy.
you go.
I'd rather put a wig on my head and pretend I'm a woman and have a speed skating race against Tonya Harding.
Oh, man.
Now,
that's
yes.
funny.
Hey-o.
There you go.
Yeah. There's some. So let's talk about.
Okay.
Well, let's get off. That's a bad. No, let's not.
Voting?
Well, I'm going to get in trouble no matter what I say next.
Hey,
now.
Yes, you are.
Anyway,
It's
You're
not-
always in
let's-
trouble, Tony.
let's go
Yeah.
back to politics and just walk through the demographics a little bit, because one of the things notable is that on the table right now is illegal immigration. Now, one of the things we've talked about in some other programs, just to catch the audience up, is that the left continues to commingle. And boy, that's a word that lawyers hate, commingling. You say commingle in front of a lawyer, and you just see he goes schizoid. But they're commingling border security and immigration reform. And Kamala does it constantly. And I know Florida, Angie, is against illegal immigration. That's one of the things notable about the Latinos I talk to, is that they're fed up. Is that most of the ones I have, like my friend Sergio de la Pena, who ran for governor in Virginia, dear friend, former assistant secretary of defense for Western Hemisphere in the Pentagon under Trump. He came here as a naturalized Mexican. He came here at 7 years old, worked the fields, worked his way up, became a full colonel, became a candidate for governor, was the secretary. So
He did it the right way.
Did it the right way.
His turn,
Right.
right?
That's my point. And then, of course, not to do a plug for my book, but one of the characters in there, one of the characters in the book is Juan Negro. His real name is Jose Oliveira, Colonel Oliveira, another Latino. He came from the Dominican Republic. His family did, legally. And so all of my Latino friends, by the way, didn't Kamala Harris's family come from the Dom Rep? They don't consider themselves black. They're Latino. Just saying for the record, if people are paying attention. Just saying. And he's fed up too. And they're fed up because they did do it the right way. So Angie, do you think that this issue regarding border security / immigration reform, which we want to break out a little bit, is also playing in the Latino vote in Florida right now?
Oh, 100%. I mean, especially here in the cities, right? When you really feel it, because you're having government money going to free turkeys on Thanksgiving Day to people who don't even, belong here. And, I would have thought that something as Latino as Miami would be a little bit more welcoming to it. No way. You have families who've waited and done the green card thing and stayed out of trouble, right? Because if you break the law, you get kicked out. If if you sign up for that. My own husband, he's British, right? He's been waiting to get his naturalization. He has to study American history. I mean, he knows more American history than I do, right? Because he wants to get in the right way. And that's how all immigrants have come in traditionally. Meanwhile, you just open up the gates and it's like, come on in, and here's $9,000 of housing, and here's a free turkey for Thanksgiving. I didn't get a free turkey. Did you guys get a free turkey? No. So this is the problem. And what's worse, you guys, is what's coming around the corner, which is you're going to see places like Vermont, right, who only has one congressional seat. All of a sudden, they're flooding in 700,000 people there. I don't know where they came from. Maybe the northern border. Oh, wow. Now they're going to have a second congressional seat after the 2030 census taking. All right. That's what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
That is the long play. That's the long
Mhm.
play here that we're not even talking about yet because we're still too wrapped up in this election. Already, Governor DeSantis has already caught 20 non-citizens voting, and I'm 20 only out of millions, but it's happening, and you're
Yeah.
you're seeing it in all the key swing states.
Well, so this is where I'm hoping the Republicans are smarter this time regarding the demographic issue, because you brought up one aspect. The other aspect is the census, because obviously they want to count illegals as part of the census. Trump doesn't, which is the right answer. Like, no, they're not here legally. They're going to be removed. They should be. But let me ask a little trivia question. Angie, when was the last time a president granted amnesty to a group of people? Do you know?
To a group of people?
A
Yeah.
group.
I can't even think of maybe the Japanese. I don't know.
No,
Who?
no.
Who?
So the last person to grant amnesty to a group of people, which was to the illegal aliens in California primarily, was Ronald Reagan in 1987.
Oh.
So now, so I'm saying this
That
for a
is
reason.
true.
I'm actually there's a reason I'm bringing this up, because this helps illustrate how important what you're saying is. So they went to Reagan, even Republicans, Senate Republicans, which are always soft anyway, just saying, and they said, "Look, we're going to cut a deal with the Democrats." And this is back in the old days of Tip O'Neill, and it just shows how they're like a collective hive mind. They never stop. Anyway, so what happened was, it was a bipartisan bill, and it was the Immigration Reform Act of 1987. There's a name for you. Who would have thought? We have already done immigration reform, Angie, but it's not good enough because, we didn't get everybody in. So what happened, though, let me tell you what the permanent consequence of that was. The deal was, you give us amnesty for the current illegal aliens in America, most of them in California, and we'll build the wall. Did they build the wall, Angie? I don't think they did.
How come we can't finish this wall? This is what it's like.
Hey,
we can put
here's
up
a
buildings in months, and we
let's
can't
build a
finish
wall just around California. Just
Anyway,
around California.
But
Can
the
we just
ultimate
carve it
right.
out entirely and just
So
push
but
it to
the
water?
ultimate consequence
Yes.
of that decision was to make California permanently blue.
Right,
Right.
of course.
So this needs to be the touchstone and lesson for us as conservatives to say,
Yes.
don't do that again. Never trust them. Yeah.
Or we play it better, Tony. How about we flood Vermont and all the other states that they're trying to put 700,000 people? Look at New York State right now. In one building, supposedly, this is the Roosevelt Hotel, there's been 100,000 occupancies in there from illegals. Okay, so that in itself could be almost a congressional seat, depending on how many names they can stuff and how many people use that address. New York is going to grow by one congressional seat. They don't even need New York. They're going to do this state by state. And if we play it better, we can win this too.
Yep. All right. So over to the team, guys. I'm sure you have questions for Angie. I don't want to bogart the time.
Keep in mind, I want to jump in here. Keep in mind that these illegals that flood these blue cities, you can actually, or the state legislator, depending on who runs it, can actually gerrymander all these to create not just one more Democrat district, but maybe two or three more if these populations increase and they're counted. Wilbur Ross, when he was Secretary of Commerce, proposed for the 2020 census that illegal aliens or illegals or non-citizens should not be counted within the census because for that very reason. But Democrats jumped all over that, and they stopped that in its tracks. They called it racist. Right. They did whatever they could, but they stopped it in its tracks. You're spelling it out right now, but it's not even just those areas. It's the fact that state legislatures can take that extra district and kind of take Republican districts and kind of needle through and create a couple more Democrat districts and run more state legislatures that way.
Yeah. Well, I you have two veterans here, right, on the show today. So I want to ask you guys, what if a lot of the illegals who we're calling illegals came in and President Trump will say, look, you're here we will offer you naturalization, but you need to serve our military, who is desperately in need of enrollment. Right? We have very low numbers in everything but Space Force right now. Nobody wants to, nobody wants to be on the ground or fill those much needed spots. What if we said, the same thing we said to Jamaicans? If you serve 4 years, you get to be naturalized here. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll let Elizabeth go first.
Yeah.
I have some very definitive thoughts on it.
So I can tell you, they've already been doing it. That actually does happen, because I remember when I joined the Army in 1992, I was at Fort Rucker, Alabama, and several events that I would go to, I'm taking pictures of people who are being sworn in, and they're being naturalized. And I've been to DC, where I've taken pictures, and some of my other public affairs friends were. And that's when it occurred to me, it's like, oh, you can actually join the Army as an illegal citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you sign up for at least 8 years. And so they're already doing it. And I was shocked, but I thought, heck, yeah. I mean, if
you're willing to serve the country, right?
Yeah, if you're willing to serve the country, I don't have a problem with that. But even then, the recruiters, the whole process of checking people's backgrounds and, of course, vetting them and making sure, they're not like insane or schizophrenic. They have to check everything to make sure you really are doing this for the right reason. I don't have a problem with that. But the Army already does that. Yeah.
So I'm not for it. I think 2 reasons. First, as Elizabeth just stated, you don't always understand or have the ability to have a comprehensive check of these individuals.
Right.
Everybody who joins
you really have to
has
do
a basic background.
check.
Yeah. So that's been one of the issues with the Middle East. This is where Trump put it into it. It wasn't a Muslim ban. It was a ban against certain nations who
did
not find information on the individuals. That was what it was. And the left completely misportrayed that. It's like, oh, anti-Muslim.
Right.
No,
Yeah,
we need
you're
to
right.
have information regarding who these people are, period. In a lot of these countries, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, you just don't have information available to you to know if these people are good or bad. So
and that's why some people, I don't think it's I didn't mean that as a blanket thing. Some people I think would be good, but you're right. If from certain countries, if you can't do a thorough background check, then no, they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But
And then the second thing, obviously, is just, I think that would be an easy way out. I think we need to refocus on the very fabric of society, because when I grew up, I joined, I'll be doing a talk later today. As you guys know, I talked about this at pre-tape. I have to do a talk for Lori Buckout tonight as a surrogate. And one of the things I'm going to bring up is that both Lori and I voted. The first time we voted was in 1980 for President Reagan. And back then, kids were I was paying attention. I knew, I'd listened to the debate. I actually paid attention to to the debate where Jimmy Carter said that he relied on his daughter, who was, I think, 14, Amy Carter, for nuclear weapons policies. Like, okay, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think 14-year-olds are really that versed. It's like, okay, he's not going to get my vote. So just saying. So
no, I'm really curious, because here's going to be a problem for Trump on day one, right? He's got, depending on who you're listening to, at least 14 million people here now. They're here. I'm sure all of us want that bus contract to ship them back, but the reality is they're here. Do we want to give an option for those who want to stay, a pathway in? Because it's going to be almost impossible to airlift millions of people out.
The very thing you said earlier about your husband, and I guess he has good teeth, which is a good thing. Just saying. I don't want to get personal, but as long as his teeth are good, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to judge. I love British. UK folks, hey,
Toothbrushing
Mohammed,
day is
guys,
very
I love
important.
you. Don't take that the wrong way. Yeah, Chris, I'm just joking. You have good teeth. Just saying.
Well, that's because I always brush on toothbrushing day every week.
I know. Thank God you guys finally got toothbrushes in the 50s. Thank God. Just saying. So anyway, I'm back to the topic, but the point you made regarding your husband, besides the good teeth, is that he's actually learning what it is to be an American citizen, right?
Yes, more so than me.
The idea is my mother's side came over from northern part of Spain, Sevilla. And so when they came here, they didn't try to bring Spain with them. I don't run around dressing like a Spaniard. I don't like honor the home country. We became Americans, and they wouldn't even speak Spanish in front of me. That's how.
Wow.
So I'm just saying.
I don't know.
They acclimated.
Yeah,
They want to be
helmet would
Americans.
look good on you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's my view.
We
That's
don't
a good
have that
point.
right now. We
They're
don't have
willing
that.
to acclimate. If you're not willing to acclimate, then no, just go back.
But
We
that's
don't
what
want
I
you in the military.
Well, so, okay, here's part 2 of my question. Is there any way to flip these 14 plus million people who are here to be Republicans? Let's play their game, win them over, give them civics lessons, make them full, proud Americans, and flip the script. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible.
I'd be open to the
That
idea
sounds-
of a path
I
that's
like that.
different than just giving them amnesty. So yeah.
Right.
Yes. And look, I think if you're here and you can't
That's
just
a good
come
idea.
here to take on our social benefits. I'm not going to pay for your colleges and your lunches and your housing.
No.
You
And
have
your
to
birth
give back to
control.
your country. And I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out if there is a way, because I think it's easy to say, okay, we're going to send them back, but logistically, you can only, how do you even do that in the interior of our country? It's going to be very, very difficult, right?
Well, one
Without
last thing I
calling
gotta
out
ask
your
you.
neighbor.
Yeah. One last thing I got to ask you before we go to Tony's takes, which is coming around the corner here, is Angie. They've talked about Kamala Harris constantly talks about my dreams and aspirations. I mean, she talks about it all the time. She's very concerned. Did you not know that she's saying she's concerned about my dreams and aspirations? So my question to you is,
Enjoy.
because she's so concerned, do I get a private airplane like Lizzo because she's concerned about my dreams?
Yeah, or the 2.3 million Lizzo got for speaking for all
Yeah.
of 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
They got to pay people to even like Kamala Harris at this point, right? And a private
Oh.
jet. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Tony, if your aspirations is to get a private jet, I'm sure Kamala Harris will do that for you if
I
you
know.
put her on your
I'm looking
show
forward to it.
and you're like a fangirl for her. I'm sure
Right.
she'd be more than happy to pay you and
she-
give you
I
whatever
can't-
you
I
want to
can't
vote
spell
for her.
I can't spell democracy or smell it either. I can smell it. Well, I don't know if I want to smell what's on that plane. Just saying. But
I'm just
Oh,
saying,
that's
look,
gotta hurt.
Oh.
That's gotta hurt.
It's a total disaster, that campaign. Even the Democrats are now saying it. If we just kind of stay the course and stay quiet and out of their own way, they will self-destruct.
Oh,
She
yeah.
is
I agree.
her own October
right.
surprise.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
Walls is a big help for that too. So there we go.
Stay out of their way and they will just self-implode. Yeah.
All right. And we do
did
have
you
a
hear
couple
about the new campaign slogan for Tim Walz?
Oh.
Walls
Oh,
to
no.
the wall.
Ooh.
Oh.
We love Tim. That's the song.
Ah.
Anyway, hey, we got a couple minutes left. Let's try the Tony's takes, and that. Of
All
course,
right, let's do that.
and that's of course powered by Sig Sauer. Never settle.
Never
I, don't-
Never settle.
I hope we're not settling for these questions. How about this one? In an interview with in an insult-laden interview with an Associated Press journalist, Mitch McConnell was screeching about Donald Trump, saying that he has done a lot of damage to our party's image and our ability to compete. Called him nasty, just about every quality you would not want somebody to have, and then went on a tirade about his supporters. Well, how about that, Dr. Neocon? What do you think of all that?
Well, he's just upset because instead of going to McDonald's, he wanted him to go to Sizzler and tend the all-you-can-eat salad bar. So that's what Mitch is afraid of.
Now hold
He
on.
didn't get
Right?
his salad bar refreshed by Donald Trump. That's the issue.
Now, Tony, hold on
That's
there.
it. Mitch McConnell doesn't like McDonald's. He's probably also upset he wasn't in the he didn't photobomb the photo when Trump was serving. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think he prefers
Oh.
Wendy's anyway. He likes the square burger. It's easier for him.
Oh.
Well, as turtles go,
Square
that's probably true.
burger.
That's probably true.
Oh my gosh.
All right, quick one.
Yeah.
We have about a minute left.
All right.
All right, quick one for all three of you.
Lightning round.
Who drooled over Kamala Harris more during her media train wreck tour? Howard Stern, Al Sharpton, or Maria Shriver?
Oh, that's easy.
Ooh.
Howard the Slug Stern. I mean, man, oh man, I'm surprised he kept his clothes on for that interview.
Yeah. Well, he was all over her, like I don't know, was all over Carmen Electra during that one interview. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't try to get her on the Symbian, since he does that with all of his hot chicks.
I was thinking Al Sharpton, but I don't know.
I don't know.
I was getting a lot of lesbian vibes with like Liz Cheney and Maria Shriver. I was feeling a little hot there with that brown suit and the sneakers.
That's a cat fight you don't want to watch.
That is a turn on like you. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I found it interesting, Angie, that she's talked about, would you want Donald Trump to be a babysitter for your kids? Like, well, what about your husband, Doug Imhoff? No, she actually, Liz Cheney said that. It's like, well, would you want Trump to, it's like, you know who you're sitting next to? Doug Imhoff's, spouse?
Yeah. It's
all that.
Yeah, that story is getting big, you guys.
Yeah.
Him slapping down the ex-girlfriend. She's coming out soon, right? She's like
out. She's out today.
Oh, she's out today?
Yeah, it's out
What does she
in
look
both
like?
New York Post and the Daily Mail. They're both out.
No,
And
her face is still blurred.
New York,
She's blurred out.
but the New York Post is actually pushing it right now, which is good. So
Okay, well, let's see what she looks like. Look, I don't know. I mean, all these girls are waiting I hate it when girls wait till last minute to come out with this kind of stuff. It's like you had years to come out about your abuse.
Of course.
And it's like you come out now you just look like an operative, right?
Yeah.
Come out earlier.
Exactly.
Agreed.
And maybe her face isn't really blurred out. Maybe that's just the way she looks after being I don't know.
So, well, that's it. It's another great show. We got to go. Angie, man,
Thank you guys.
I didn't get to half of the things I wanted to talk to you about. As we talk, it's like a target-rich environment. We could have talked about all the different Kamala-isms. Is that a good way of summarizing?
Yeah, Kamala-ism.
Yeah, there's a few. No, well, we'll have to do it here in Miami over drinks at the Monty. I want to hear all about your old stories.
Yeah. And I'll see if the Miami Vice folks approach me to be a stunt driver again. That'll be fun. So
sounds good.
That's funny.
All right. Well, thanks, folks, for being here. We got to wrap it up. We got to go. Angie Wong, thanks for being here. Chris, as always, the Ed McMahon of our show.
Hey,
giving out big checks. Elizabeth, going out to shoot bear tonight, right? You're going after the bear?
Well, that's how we get free turkey.
There you
Government doesn't. We take our shotgun, go out in the woods, and shoot it. Hey, there's our free turkey.
Yeah. So anyway, next time Angie's back, we should know what the results are of the election. In the meantime, go out and vote. Get involved. Do something. Be positive. Be part of the solution. Until later, we'll see you later.